On this episode of the podcast, we talk about how to stay accountable to the most important things in your business that have to get done. We also talk about where to start when it comes to prioritizing the things that you need to do in your business and how to stay out of the weeds and in your zone of genius. What's up, friend? Hey, I'm Ryan Coral from Studio Sherpas, and this is the Grow Your Video Business podcast, where I talk about how to grow your video business without burning out. We cover how to get more clients, how to be more productive without sacrificing your creativity, and how to get paid what you're worth. My friend, big news today. I'm so excited. I think possibly, I don't know, our 5-day Grow Your Video Business Challenge starts today. So maybe as you're listening to this, maybe the challenge is going on. It starts at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It goes all week. So if you haven't signed up, the videos are going to play. You can watch the replays all week. Go to studiosherpas.com/challenge right now and sign up. Join the challenge. There are going to be a bunch of people in there. We've done this challenge before. We've had hundreds of people go through this challenge. It's super fun. People have said how much value it has brought to them. It's totally free. So go sign up. The things that we're going to cover outside of the giveaways, we're giving thousands of dollars worth of giveaways. But you got to be present to win. We're going to be talking about getting total clarity for your business. Get clear on what you want in 22, how to get better clients. We're going to focus on getting laser focused. We're going to focus on getting laser focused on the kind of clients that pay you what you're worth and clients that you enjoy working with. We're going to talk about how to get more sales. You're going to learn how to create this one simple thing that will land you qualified sales opportunities without being salesy. Who doesn't want that? We're going to show you how to get bigger profits, how to streamline your sales process and stop leaving money on the table. And then you'll leave this challenge with a solid plan, a step-by-step action plan that's going to help you finish the most important stuff in your business. Join us, studiosherpas.com/challenge. But don't leave yet. Actually, go sign up, go register. And if we're live right now, join us live. But this episode, one of my favorite topics, we talked to somebody who's in the world of EOS. You've heard me talk about EOS. You've heard me talk about the book Traction, Rocket Fuel, Dino Wickman, all that stuff is like my jam because it has had such a huge impact on my life. So you're in for a treat. You're always in for a treat on this show, but I get to geek out with a new friend, my friend Schmoyer. So let's get into the episode. But don't forget, sign up for the challenge. I'm going to tell you at the end of the episode too, just like real quick and briefly. So let's roll that tape, DJ. All right, we're live. What's up, guys? Just kidding. We're not live. That's the worst joke. Best joke ever. I haven't used that joke since last year. So.
Ha ha ha. That's such like a dad joke.
And I will own it. Okay. What's up, friends? Hey, welcome to this episode of the Grow Your Video Business podcast. Today, my guest is Ms. Kat Schmoyer. She is a business coach and integrator for creatives who helps small business owners make dreams and dailies happen through her coaching, her agency, and affordable templates and products. Kat, welcome to the show.
Ryan, thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so glad that you're here. My introduction to you, Kat, you know this already, but I'm in a mastermind with Graham, and there were multiple photographers in that group who week after week, they're like, oh, I'm working with my integrator, Kat, and she's amazing, and I'm getting all this stuff done, and she's just helping me focus. And so, these photographer friends of mine, very gifted, very successful in what they do, also very creative, which sometimes also means not super organized and not able to get the most important things done or able to finish anything for that matter. And I'm speaking of people like myself here. So, they have spoken extremely highly of the skill set that you've been able to bring to them in their business. Talk a little bit about what is that superpower that they speak of?
I don't know if I would call it a superpower.
I would call it a
but
superpower
I'll
because,
just, okay.
trust me, it is.
I'll own it then. I'll own
Please.
it. Really, for me, integration is like coaching on steroids. It became a way for me to step into a creative's business. So whether that be a photographer or a videographer or a wedding planner, whoever that client might be, it became a way for me to step into their business and not just coach them on the steps to take, but actually help implement the steps that they needed to take to get things done. I love dreams. I love working with visionaries who have big dreams, but I also want to make sure that dream is realistic and actually happens. And that's what integration has allowed me to get to do in my clients' businesses.
So where did this idea, like for me, rewind 5 years ago when I read the book Traction, and then I was introduced to the book Rocket Fuel, that word integrator and that word visionary were kind of like new, coined differently, but I was like, oh my gosh, like this makes so much sense. At what point did you realize that there was this difference and you did have the superpower of an integrator?
About a year and a half ago. So when I first read Traction and Rocket Fuel, it was, probably 5 years ago, I read them. And I thought I was a visionary. I was like, I'm a visionary.
Wow. Yeah.
I own my own business.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I am. Like, I don't really need an integrator. I can do some of that too. Like, it's fine. And then about a year and a half ago, I had a big aha moment. I actually took the free quiz that Rocket Fuel offers. Oh, I am an integrator all the way. Like, it was like very much an integrator. And I realized that the things I enjoy doing about my own business were integration work. So why would I not want to try to monetize that and see if other people needed that help, especially because when we really look at the VI combo, there are a lot of visionaries in the small business world and not a lot of integrators. So I just started to try to think creatively about how could I take my skill set and make it work for multiple business owners. Yeah,
I love that. Both sides, the visionary, there are incredible superpowers that the visionary has. Same thing for the integrator. Most visionaries start a business, right? They're the entrepreneurial type, and they have to figure out the integration stuff. They have to, in order to get paid, you got to figure out, okay, I got to set up a bank account. I need to create an invoice. I need to get in a spreadsheet and like figure out like all the stuff. They figure it out. They hobble together. They do it out of necessity. But when there's this for me, when I realized that, oh my gosh, there's somebody, one of my employees, she came to me, Lindsay, she came to me and she said, hey, she handed me a stack of papers. She's like, this is what you need. And I want to do this job. And I look at this thing and it says like how to know when you need a business manager or operations manager. I'm reading this and it was essentially like an integrator. It's like the person who's going to take the visions from the visionary, from the entrepreneur that started the business and actually make them happen. Not all of the ideas, but the ones that actually will move the business forward. And then shortly after she had handed me the stack of papers, we had both read the book Traction, and I think both of us were like, "Oh my gosh! Like this is what the stack of paper that she handed me, but like on overload." And literally, like I felt like Gino had written that book for me, and that was just an amazing epiphany to realize I can be a visionary and I don't have to do the integration. And the more time I can spend as a visionary, the like I'm able to fly, right? As Gino kind of says, and be in my sweet spot and empower people who are gifted at the other side of things. As an integrator, like what would you say, like what does that actually mean? So if I'm a videographer and I come to you and I'm like, okay, Ryan says having an integrator is like really important, really good. Like, but how can you help me? Because we're doing stuff, we're making money, maybe not as much as we want to, but and it's somewhat organized chaos. How can you help?
So in a couple of different ways, and it varies depending on the client. So I don't want that to be like the gray answer of like, just email me and we'll find out for you. Like, let me give you a couple examples. A lot of my current clients are service-based, but they're looking to start to step into digital. So they're thinking about, I want to create a course. I want to step into owning or having an online shop, but they're so busy on the service side, they don't have the time to make the dream happen of the digital product. So I come on board to not only optimize the services, make sure workflows, systems, things are streamlined. It's not just chaotic. It is actually organized and running really, really well. And then we add in those goals of digital products. My expertise is definitely on digital revenue, passive income, setting up funnels, the back end. And so I really integrate within the businesses that I'm working in to make sure all of those things are helping make that happen. So it's not only the initial setup, but then we're thinking about marketing, we're thinking about operations and all of those other pieces, because you don't just want to create the product and then let it sit there. We need to sell the product. We need to keep selling the product. Like there are just things that we need to continue to do as the product progresses. So I'm really in the weeds on the back end of the business. And Rocket Fuel, they talk about the visionary and the integrator, just like you said, Ryan, where the visionary like creates the company. The visionary is the CEO and the integrator is like the general manager. So the CEO is going to get bogged down on the day-to-day of the business. The CEO should not be worried about, did the Instagram post get posted on time? Did our email go out? Did the podcast go live? That's the integrator's role. Yeah. The integrator steps in to manage the team, to manage the operations. And I thoroughly enjoy that. Like it's so much fun for me to be in the weeds of the business and like organize it that I don't want to worry about like vision casting. One of my visionary, you know her, Rebecca, she calls me the dream crusher because she'll bring something to me and I'll be like, no, not right now. Like we can't do that because we're currently doing these 3 things and we need to see them to completion before we can add in this new thing. So I feel like with an integrator, it's a lot of keeping a pulse on what the team is doing, what the business has the capacity to do, so that the goals you're setting as a business owner are actually being hit.
Yeah. I love that. It's that phrase, dream crusher.
I know.
I think it is the best. As a visionary, like we need to hear that. Like, wait, what do you mean? Like my dreams are going to get crushed. My friend Jason, who's also our EOS implementer, he describes it as like, you know, Ryan's job is to come up with, he's going to have 100 ideas. And as the integrator, your job is to, you know, ideas are going to be flying at you and you just kind of need to be able to dodge all the ideas and like grab the one that will actually do something for the business right here, right now. Like maybe those other 99 are good, like put them to the side. I describe it as like over the past 16 years, I have kept track of all my new business ideas or new product ideas or new service ideas or different ways that we can market the company. I have literally a list of thousands of ideas that could make our business so much money. It could make any business so much money. And like every day, if I'm just having a cup of coffee, I'm like quiet, I'm reading my Bible, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, you know, we could sell this thing over here. Like it just doesn't stop. And I'm okay with that. Like I like, you know, kind of dreaming and thinking and whatever, but like that I guess it's a superpower, but it's also a curse. But what's beautiful is to say like, you only need like 1 or 2 of those to run a business, because that's how we have run a business for the last 17 years. We've got a couple of core things that we do, and we, you know, continue to refine them. And sure, we've tried different marketing things, but goodness gracious, I've got enough ideas for, you know, hundreds of businesses that there's no way we could do nearly any of them. What I don't want people to miss is what you said just a moment ago, where you said you actually like being in the weeds of the business. I think when most people start, you know, they're doing all the things. They're shooting, they're editing, they're selling, they're marketing, they're doing all the things. And there's some parts where it's like, oh, that was cool. I liked being a part of the branding process or building our website or, you know, doing all these things. But at the end of the day, our greatest superpower as an owner of a video company is being with clients, trying to catch their vision, and then being a part of the creative process. Not necessarily being the one creating it, but being a part of that to some extent. The more we're taken away from those things, client work and production, you know, when we're working on a website, when we're working on a logo, when we're working with our accountant and our taxes and all this other stuff, those are the things that take us away from our greatest contribution. The money maker. In that sense, we're the money maker. So when we're in the weeds, we are not having the kind of impact that we want to have. And then the most beautiful thing that you said, which it still makes me laugh. It's still hard to believe that there are people like you in the world that like being in the weeds. And I seriously, I mean, I'm kind of, you know, not making light of that. That really is like, it's hard for some of us to understand that, wow, there are people that would want to do those parts of this work. And the answer is like a resounding yes. What the heck is that all about?
It's so true, though. I mean, we all have our zone of genius.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that I want to be in the weeds of every business, right? Like, just like I'm sure for you all with the clients that you're working with, you have your ideal client. Yep. I have my ideal client. I have the ideal business that I would love to like really dig in with. And that's what makes me excited and makes me fired up and passionate about like the work that we can do in the weeds of their business, like optimizing those funnels, streamlining those systems, making sure things are running smoothly. And so when I have that right client, when it's that like good VI combo, as like Gino calls it, like that's when it really is magic, both for me and I hope for the visionary, because then they're in their zone of genius, being able to vision cast, being able to like lead the charge. And I can be focused on, but wait, where are we right now? And how is this helping us get where you want to keep going?
Yeah, super powerful. I love that, the idea of the zone of genius. So as you're listening to this episode, please, one of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself is to say, like, what would that look like if I could delegate or hand off some of these like daily, I call them interruptions, but daily things that, you know, the business needs to keep going, but they don't need you to be doing them. I would love to talk about the 90-day goals. You'd mentioned this as one of the things you like to talk about. This is one of my favorite topics because for me, you know, when we started implementing EOS 5 years ago, it had just a massive impact on my business, but my life. I just got the EOS Life. Have you read that book?
It's sitting on my desk right now.
So Jason, my buddy, has given me a copy, and it comes with a cool journal. So I'm like, this is me. Like, I feel like as I'm reading the intro and the foreword and stuff, it's like when you start applying the principles that are in EOS, there's this crossover into your life, because now that I'm not in the day-to-day and all the weeds of the business, I enjoy so much more of the business, which translates over to I enjoy so much more of my life in all of this now. The 90-day rocks, our yearly goals, like that has been so incredibly powerful and helpful for us. So much so that last year we got really hurt after we had our yearly session at the beginning of the year, and some things got shaken up inside of our business with employees shifting around and whatever. And we didn't have a consistent implementer throughout the year. So we got to the end of this past year and we did some forecasting and some yearly planning for this year and realized, like, oh my gosh, we got totally sidetracked and we didn't stay focused and we didn't meet our yearly goals. And we did rocks throughout the year, but they weren't like super as focused as they should have been to achieve our yearly goal. So I'm just so much a huge believer in these like achievable yearly goals that are based on our 3-year and our 10-year targets and all that stuff. So talk a little bit about the importance of 90-day, what that actually looks like, and how people can implement that into their daily lives.
So when you're thinking about setting goals, I think there's two sets of people. You have people that love it, that are like, January, yes, like let me goal set for the whole year and like make it all color coded and like laminate things and we're just gonna go for it. And then you have the people that are so goal averse, that are like, no way, I can't set goals, or maybe they've never set a goal that they've hit before, or that's just felt like, okay, this was a good goal. They just don't enjoy it. I am more on the color code laminate girl. I'll just admit that. Like, that's all right. Like, aren't you shocked? However, something that I think is really helpful when you're looking at goals in 90-day increments is it helps both sets of people. It helps the person that wants to goal plan to such an extent that there's no flexibility in the goal and there's no wiggle room for growth or just creativity throughout the year or whatever, time frame you're looking at. And also the person that doesn't really love goals, hey, let's just take 90 days. Like, let's look at 3 months. That's not that long. When you really look at your year and what you're doing in your business, it's a very feasible amount of time to say, hey, okay, January to March, what am I doing? What's happening in the business? What's happening in our family life or in our personal life, and to conquer a goal that way. And so I'm a huge fan of quarterly goal setting. I'm not a big fan of annual goal planning for all of those reasons. Like it's the opposite of that. Right. It's too strict. It's too finite. And I love how Traction teaches rocks. And I've implemented that on quite a few of the teams I'm on. I also think that there's ways that you can tweak the Traction system, though, to work for like a solopreneur or for someone who maybe is like, hey, I don't have a team. I don't even have like an editor right now. I'm not following EOS at all. You can still set quarterly goals. Like you can still have a way to see that traction in your business over those 90-day periods.
Where do you see people failing when it comes to 90-day goals?
Not allowing the time to do it, like not actually implementing throughout the 90 days. We can do a really good job of setting the goal at the beginning of the quarter. And then we'll go back to our in the weeds statement. They get stuck in the weeds of all the things. And 6 weeks into the quarter, they're not focusing on that specific goal anymore because client work came up or fires needed to be put out or like so many other things have happened in the business. I teach all my coaching clients have at least one day, if not an afternoon every week, that's your project day. That is the rocks day or the goal setting day, whatever you're calling your quarterly goals, so that all quarter long, you're able to focus on that goal every single week, 4 hours a week, all quarter long. That's not that much, but that will add up over the quarter. And then by the end of the 90 days, you've been able to see some progress. So maybe you didn't hit it, but you've made more progress and you can keep going into the next quarter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, love that. When somebody is deciding on what 90-day goals that they should set, like what's a good 90-day goal and what's not a good 90-day goal?
I like to assess 4 areas, and this is where it differs from like the EOS model.
I won't tell
This is more for don't tell him. Don't let him get mad at me. But this is, again, thinking more for like that solopreneur or like that very, very small team. I assess time, money, dreams, and dailies whenever I'm making a goal. Time and money are the foundation. And this is actually another mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs make when setting a goal is because you're a visionary, you go for the dream first. You're like, oh, I want to do this. Like, I'm going to do the dream first.
Stop
and you don't
reading
think
my mail.
about, you don't think about time and money. But time and money are huge in your business.
Right.
Do you have the time to make it happen? Are you financially at a spot where you can spend the time to make it happen? So time and money, foundation. You have to assess time and money. Mm-hmm. Then look at your dreams and look at your dailies. Dailies is my like little catchphrase for what's going on in your business on a regular basis. So what does your day-to-day look like? For a lot of my audience are moms. So they have children. Maybe they're working from home with their kids. Like that's going to affect their daily rhythm. Like can things be or what's possible in their daily rhythm with the fact that they're working from home with their kids or they have school pickup or school drop off, things like that. So you want to assess daily and then you want to assess those dreams. So like Ryan, you mentioned you probably have like 1,000 ideas. Like you probably have some sort of like brain dump somewhere. I call it a parking lot list. Have ideas somewhere, whether that's like a Trello list or a Google Doc or even a private Slack channel to yourself. That's like, this is your brain dump list. And that's where you can go every quarter. Okay, what's here? What is the gold mine? If you don't have an integrator to help you assess or a business coach to help you, after looking at time and money and looking at your dailies, pick the dream that makes the most sense right now so that it can happen. I can't stress enough that the point of the goal is to make it happen at the end of the quarter or get closer to making it happen. Don't just pull something because it seems shiny and fun to do.
Yeah. Oh man, I there are a couple of things we launched in our business. I remember when we had first moved into our new studio, our first studio. I was like, oh, it'd be sweet is we should do T-shirts and we could sell T-shirts and and maybe people are out there that own video company that do this and do it super well. I don't know what I was thinking, but holy cow, did that detract from what we really should have been focusing on? So when you say like, oh yeah, I'm sure you got dreams, and I'm like, yeah, I thought that would be cool to like, empower, like have some cool T-shirts for filmmakers that would make them smile or just feel like part of a tribe or whatever, and realize like, oh my gosh, that was like it was not going to make us money. It was just like, oh, this would be cool. So Yes, I have plenty of those. I would say one of the hardest things, like when I look back at 2021, realizing that without having a consistent check-in with our implementer, not having accountability, we got off track. So for the solopreneur, for the small team, like I mean, accountability is like massive, because it's real easy to be like, you know what, I'm just too busy this week. I just can't get the rock done. So what do you recommend for somebody that might be all by themselves? I mean, in my business, I have an operations director who, like, you know, we're kind of supposed to be accountable to each other. It just didn't happen. So what the heck?
Yeah, no, that's such a great point. I think for anyone out there who feels like they're kind of on the ship by themselves and they're trying to figure out, well, how do I find this accountability? Whether that's going for a coach or just finding a buddy. Like, I'm sure you have friends in this industry that are in a similar season of business, or that are on their own ship too, you know? And so one of my business besties, as I call her, we used to have a standing like bi-weekly meeting. And that was our way to like get on Zoom and have, you know, talk through, here's some of the issues going on in the business, and just be able to verbally process and get some feedback. That doesn't work right now with our schedule. So it's a Vox conversation, but it's still there. Right? It's still knowing that like I can pick up my phone and Vox her at any point, and she knows things about my business that somebody else might not know. And I trust her, and there's an intimacy in that relationship. And so reaching out and finding a buddy that you can have that account back and forth. Like, it's not just you pouring into them, they're going to pour into you as well. And knowing that you can both help each other in those goals.
Yeah, that's super powerful. I'm in two different masterminds, one that I'm a member of and one that I host. And that's a sweet spot, right? To be sharing publicly, like, what are you working on? Not just like, you know, sharing your wins, but like what's not working. I think that's really, really helpful. I would say the other thing, like on a related note, we would do set these quarterly rocks, and, you know, I would have time in the afternoon. And then we would have our level 10 meeting where it's like, hey, are you on track? Are you off track with your rocks? And I'd be like, I'd say, like, you know, it's feeling pretty good. It's like, I spent a little bit of time on it, but there was real no clear, like, did I take a step forward? I think so, because I spent time on it. So now, you know, I break down the weeks of the quarter. So I've got 13 weeks, and I say, okay, if at the end of this quarter, I want to launch a new website, I have to make that into 13 tasks, actionable tasks. And, you know, starting with like, you know, find 3 websites that I like for inspiration. Next one is like, you know, look for 2 different web designers that I want to interview next week. And then so like every week I have one thing that if I want to do more than that one thing, great. I also, you know, to your point, I have on my calendar, although it does get bumped a lot of times, I think 3 p.m. on Mondays for 30 or 45 minutes to work on my rocks, right? And that's where I can look at, okay, what week am I in the quarter? Week 2? Okay, what thing am I supposed to do this week? Okay, can I do that right now? If I can, great. And then at our level 10, it's like, hey, are you on or off? I can say I'm on track or I'm off track. I either did the thing or I didn't. It's not like, well, I feel like I spent some time, so I'd say, yeah, I'm on track. Now it's like very concrete, and which has, I'm at my heart a creative, but have learned to say like, oh man, if I want to run like a really solid business that doesn't require me in the center, I need to like kind of be on top of things a little bit more than I'm naturally interested in.
No, I love that, Ryan. And I think it's interesting too to think through like, how can you figure out the time in your schedule to get all of the things done that you need to get done? So whether that's, you know, okay, looking at your week and saying, okay, I want to have an afternoon for quarterly goals. I need to have an afternoon to look at marketing. I'm talking to like the solopreneur that's probably doing all the things, right? I need to have a day that's maintenance, that you're sending invoices, checking in on contracts, like doing all of that stuff. And so I think that like time batching can also be really helpful in making you feel like you are moving that needle. So whether you can say on track or off track for the goal, or just feel like your inbox isn't a hot mess, like you just know you have concrete time throughout the week to get those tasks done.
Yeah, that idea of time batching or time blocking. I did that when I first started my business for the first couple of years. That was so helpful for me to say, like, Wednesday afternoon is marketing. I don't know I don't remember what it was set up, but doing things like that, at least on a weekly basis, I was able to see, like, oh, I should be doing some prospecting. I should, follow up with clients or whatever the things are. Otherwise, like, as a solopreneur, like, it's so hard because it's like, you've got to do all the things.
I know. And that's why people don't like being in the weeds, because you're trying to do all of it. And that isn't healthy and it's not sustainable.
No, it makes me want to quit right now. Even though I'm
But
past
we're not. But
though I'm past that.
And if you're listening, don't quit. That's not worth it. Don't stop.
Don't quit. Don't. I mean, that's what this show exists for, is to help you get out of the weeds. And I talk a lot about we hired a virtual assistant a few years ago, and I think before hiring someone, it was like, man, like, but these are all things that I can do, like, and it doesn't take much time. But let me reiterate, if you can find somebody for 10 or 20 or 25 or even $30 an hour or more, depending on what the tasks are, to be able to offload those things so that you're freed up. What is that book? Oh man, Rory, can't remember his last name. He says something like, if you're going to delegate something, know that it's going to take, I think, 5 times longer than it takes for you to do the thing in order to teach it. So if you can think through that, 5 times longer, okay, so if I'm going to do it, like, just think, even if it takes 10 times longer, eventually you're not doing it anymore. And you can save your time, and it's not going to cost that much money. I mean, I've got so many friends that are good at, like, building things, or they could create their own website or whatever. But it's like, if it's going to take you, 20 or 40 hours or 80 hours to do that from start to finish, what if you paid somebody thousands of dollars to do that faster and better than you? And during that 40 or 80 hours, you're actually doing things that make your business money, right? You're not just like, sleeping on the couch, not doing anything. Like, that's where I think we get kind of like mixed up and just think like, oh, well, like, I mean, I should do it because I can do it. It's right here. It's in front of me. I know how to do it. If you can make money in your business, like, spend your time doing that and find people that can help you and support you. You can still stay a solopreneur, find contractors. There's so many people out there that would love to work 2 hours a week, 20 hours a week, one task at a time. Am I right?
Absolutely. Well, it goes back to zone of genius. You have to figure out what is your zone of genius in the business. Like, what are the things that only you can do? There are things only Ryan can do, only Kat can do, only you can do. Those are the things that you should be doing. And it is worth it to delegate out. And whether that is, like you said, like multiple subcontractors, whether that's going with an agency, like, that's one of the reasons I started my agency, was because I realized there are solopreneurs who are visionaries that have no desire to run a team. It overwhelms them to think about that financially or managing those people. They just want to talk to one person who can delegate out to the other people, but you can find people that can do those tasks for you, so you can just do what only you should be doing.
Yeah, I love that. You did mention one other thing. I mean, maybe we kind of talked around it. Organizing business to-dos to get more stuff done. Like, I feel like that, for me, when I can, like, start my day, knowing I've got one or two things, if I can complete these things, I'm going to feel very successful. But part of that process is, like, again, it's as a visionary, it's hard to focus on the right things. I might just say, like, well, I know I can clean my inbox up, or I know I can, clean my desktop off or whatever. But is that how I should be spending my time today? How do you recommend focusing on the right to-dos and getting the most stuff done, the most important stuff done for your business?
Well, first of all, hopefully we've like hit this point so many times, but hopefully you're already thinking through what can only you do. And if you're the only one that can do your inbox, maybe we should talk. I feel like you're probably not. So like maybe we should talk about that, So hopefully
but
if you're
I'm
listening,
so good at writing emails,
right, you're
Kat.
so good at writing emails. Yeah.
I'm like friendly. I do exclamation points. Like, I don't know if anybody else can do that like me.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not like you. So hopefully you're thinking through, like, what could you start to delegate? But if you're in a season where you are just wearing all the hats or a lot of the hats, definitely think about like some time blocking. I feel like that can help you be really focused in on the time that you are spending working. So then your to-dos are priority based, because today is a marketing day. So you need to think about YouTube content or blog content or reels or whatever it is that is within your marketing for your brand. And then you have another day that I call a maintenance day. That's the back end. Looking in your CRM, those invoices, those contracts, like catching up with your accountant if you need to, like doing the stuff that you might not love to do, but the business needs to get done. So like have that maintenance day, have that project day. That's the goal setting day. So see, you can start to think through what are the tasks that you're doing every week and how can you group them together so it feels like you can prioritize and then move the needle within those tasks versus like feeling like a squirrel when you've got your inbox tab open, but you're trying to write a blog post, but then you jump over here into like Dubsado, like you're like going all over the place. That's not productive. Maybe you get a lot of little tasks done, but you're not working in your zone of genius. You're not doing deep work. So I highly suggest some sort of like time blocking or batching period throughout your week or throughout your month to help you focus in on those things.
Yeah. Oh man. I love it. Yeah, that's all so good. Thank you for bringing those things up. I mean, we all need to hear that. I love the idea of batching, of time blocking, closing your tabs. I do an exercise with people where I'm not sure if you've ever done this, where you like write the alphabet out across and then you write numbers 1 through 26 down like vertically or whatever. And then, but you do them like one at a time. You write the letter A, then you write the number 1, you write the letter B, then you write the number 2, and you do that the whole time and you time it. And then I have people go, okay, now just write the entire alphabet. And then when you're done with the alphabet, then write the numbers 1 through 26. And we time that. And it's like almost cuts the time in half when they're focused on just the alphabet or just the numbers. So that is like the smallest example of like, you have tabs open, you have notifications on your phone, your phone, your ringer is on, you have notifications on Slack, that's open, you have all these things. Use the phrase deep work. And I think that phrase is probably like, most of us are pretty ignorant to, like, what does that even mean? It's like the stuff that really matters in your business. If you didn't check your email 20 times in a day, that's probably not going to make a big difference in your business. If you checked it twice, that might be enough in a given day. So if you know that, getting this website launched is going to help you get more leads and get more opportunities, for you to have distractions, that's not good. You need to get that done. If you know that you need to get a proposal out, but you're distracted, you work in an office with like this. Our first office was totally open and it was very small, and there was. Oh, Siri. No, I'm not talking to you, Siri. She always interrupts my podcast. But we're in this small room and there's 6 people working, and there's a visionary, me, you're looking at him, in the middle. And when I have an idea, I just kind of turn around and say like, hey, Matt, what do you think about like, hey, John, what do you think about? And like, I'm interrupting their deep work. I'm interrupting myself, not realizing that, hey, this isn't the right time for that. Like maybe like one day a week we can spend an hour talking about all the ideas that Ryan has, and they're not like on fire. Like I don't need an answer about that right now. I'm just like in the moment, like super excited about it and thought it would be a cool conversation starter. So yes, to all of that you're saying, helping kind of bring some type of a framework. If there's one takeaway, I think from what I'm hearing you say, is having a framework for what our week should look like, or what our quarters should look like, and broken down into like, okay, if you're going to achieve those goals, plus do the work that you've got to do, what does a day look like? What could your week look like? I mean, what could your month look like? And trying to happen to the day versus the day happening to you. Man, Absolutely. I should write a book or something.
You should.
I stole that from somewhere. I don't know where.
Oh my goodness.
What are we leaving out, Kat?
I don't think anything.
Anything. We brought it all. That's spectacular. I mean, I didn't expect anything less. Kat, where can people check out your products, your team, all the stuff that you've got going? You have a podcast too?
I do have a podcast. So y'all can go to my website, katschmoyer.com. It links all the things. So it's got podcast, it's got YouTube, it's got the blog, the shop is there. It's the home base for everything. You can also find me on Instagram. I love a good voice DM, and I mean it when I want people to let's actually connect. DMs are my favorite place on Instagram. I don't really like anything else about Instagram. So come find me on Instagram. Let's hang out in DM, and I would love to answer any other questions you might be having as you're processing setting goals in your business or creating a rhythm or a framework for you or integration. We talked about so much stuff. So throw them my way, send me a DM, and let's do it.
I love it. Well, how do you want to leave us today?
I don't know. How should I leave it? What should I do?
Give us a summary. Give us a benediction. I don't know. What do you got?
I don't know. I don't have anything else.
Oh man, this was so good, Kat. You did. You can drop the mic and walk away. Thank you so much for sharing your zone of genius with us.
Thank you.
I really, at least for me, I'm re-inspired to get focus and clarity. I mean, it's just so important to do the thing that we're called to do, to not get caught up in the weeds and all of the details of all of the things, but to really be strategic. And I think in being strategic, we can be the most productive in doing the right stuff, not just the task that is in front of us, but the right thing. So thank you again for sharing. You're a gem, and appreciate you lots.
Thank you, Ryan, for having me.
Thank you for hanging out on this episode. Don't forget, check the show notes for any of the links that Kat and I mentioned or references from this episode. And I would love to hear from you. If you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook, leave a comment. If you have a question, feel free to use that space there or shoot me a DM. You can follow me on Instagram at Grow Your Video Business or just at Ryan Coral. It's Koral. Let me know, what is your big takeaway from this episode? What are you going to do? Are you going to create a 90-day plan? Are you going to block out? Are you going to do time blocking, batching, any of that stuff? Or is this just not for you? I would be curious to hear about that too. And I won't judge you too hard. I promise I'll be nice. So yeah. If you like this show and you're not subscribed to it, you can do that. You can subscribe. If you think this might be helpful for somebody else, please share it. That would be muchly appreciated. And again, if you're not signed up for the 5-day Grow Your Video Business Challenge, do that at studiosherpas.com/challenge. Okay? If you need anything, email me, DM me, whatever. I'm Ryan at studiosherpas.com. I'm here to serve you. My friend, thank you for being on this journey with me. And I'm very, very excited for you and your business, wherever you're at today. If you're just getting ready to launch your biz, or if you've been doing this for 20 years or more, I am for you. I believe in the power of what we do, and grateful to have you on this journey with me. That's it for now. I'll see you at the challenge, or I'll see you on next week's episode. Bye for now.